Hi, welcome to episode 2 of the Alternative Zen show. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Jen, and today we're going to be talking about fear.
So the reason why we wanted to talk about fear for our second show is because fear is prevalent in all of our lives. There's a lot of fear going on in the world right now, especially this past year with the pandemic. And fear is something we've had to overcome in order to become entrepreneurs, in order to take this leap of faith and to chase our dreams. And so we wanted to talk about, some of the things we're afraid of, some of the ways you can deal with fear. We have some really awesome quotes that we picked out to talk about fear. So, Jen, do you want to start with how has fear and doubt affected you as we've gotten started?
So, as I touched on in the first video, I've always been a person where I need to work a job that has a guaranteed paycheck to support myself and my kids and stand on my own 2 feet. So the unknown of where this is going to be has put a huge, fear into my life. Like, is this going to work? Are we going to be able to create a following and help people understand and educate them about the things that we're using to help ourselves, and really try to push them in that direction to, help create business for us and create, the cushion to support ourselves with that income, instead of doing anything else. So that's really been the biggest fear, is because I've transitioned into becoming a person where it's like, I don't want to be the slave laborer, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way at all, but just the general slave population of us going to work every day, 5 days a week, making other people money, and being miserable in our lives. That is what I mean,
Yeah, no, I totally get you. And so with that, I mean, I had that same fear, but I think we've both combated that fear by just knowing, we have just this utmost faith in ourselves.
Right.
And it just feels right. And it's this is something, it's scary and it's new, but it's we know we're capable.
Exactly.
And so that's kind of how we're challenging that. And it's okay, well, because fear of failure, I think it plays into that a lot.
Huge.
I used to be afraid of failure. Now I see failure as an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to grow. It's, a chance to, stick it to the universe and say, okay, you tried to get me, but I'm going to keep going. We're survivors.
Exactly.
And we're very smart and capable. So that's how we're combating that. And it's that fear, it's chasing us, but it keeps us going.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
In a way. So, we're using our fear positively, which is really awesome.
Which feeds into keeping hope, and having faith and keeping hope alive. And there's nothing stronger than fear than hope.
Right. Well, love, I think hope is part, it's the same energy kind of as love.
Right.
And love is the most powerful energy, is that love can help you overcome pretty much anything. Right. And so it's I feel too, because we're doing this out of love for ourselves and for other people, right? This isn't a selfish venture where we're just looking to get rich quick or anything like that. It's a career, and we got to start somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and then also for fear is having an end goal in mind, right? We know where we want to go. And so, it's scary, but it's we know it's going to take time to get there. And so it's okay, if we have a goal in mind, how can we put steps in place to make it a little more manageable, instead of being oh my God, in say 10 years, we want to have a franchise, right? Well, that's not going to happen overnight. It's little by little, you get some. You have to
work hard, work really hard. And when you put in the effort and you get some of the return, you continue to build upon it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so we need to allow ourselves to be afraid, and do it anyway. There is so much to be gained on the other side of fear. Fear holds us back often, and a lot of people, when they get afraid, they freeze up and then they run away. But I actually want to encourage people, to face their fears, not to be afraid of fear. Because one of the quotes that I collected is Alan Watts. Love him. One of my favorite philosophers. To attack fear is to strengthen it. The secret to all this is not to be afraid of fear. When you can allow yourself to be afraid, and you don't resist the experience of fear, you are truly beginning to master fear. When you refuse to be afraid, you're resisting fear. And that simply sets up the vicious cycle of being afraid of fear and being afraid of being afraid of fear. If then you try to obliterate fear, you're working in the wrong way. To attack fear is to strengthen it. So we're not attacking fear.
No.
We're just facing it head on. We know that fear is real.
Yes.
And we know that there's an opportunity to failure, but we know that we've got this.
Right. And we just have to keep pushing through and doing all of the right things to overcome that fear and allow us to obtain the proof that we no longer have to be in fear of this venture and of this show.
Yeah. Well, it's like, and this isn't just about this episode isn't just about is just about us. It isn't just about the shop. It isn't just about the show. It's just combating fear in general, right? And so it's like I've been afraid of getting hurt. Like I've always wanted to skateboard, so I finally started. Yeah, I've always been afraid to skateboard. So this year I finally was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna learn how to skateboard, but I'm gonna prepare myself. So mentally I prepare myself, being like, if I fall, if I get hurt, I'm gonna be okay. Especially because I wear protective gear, right? So if we arm ourselves with tools and with resources to protect ourselves, fear is a little less real, right?
Right, and easier to overcome and just be able to do instead of not do.
And I had a major wipeout this last week. I really did. But afterwards, when I got up, I was like, oh, I feel awesome because I took it. And I'm it didn't make me not want to do it. It just made me better prepared for next time.
Right.
Awesome. So some of the ways we combat fear that you guys can implement into your lives, like I love creating playlists for different moods and different things. So like creating a playlist for like songs that make you feel powerful and that help you realize that, again, fear, there's nothing to fear but fear itself. Because fear is really, it's like a mind game.
It is.
It's a game our minds play on us. And it's based on preconditioning, right? It's like we've been through bad stuff. And so it's like fear is like, okay, you don't want that same result again. You don't want that pain. You don't want to feel that way again. But honestly, if you try and run from feeling, if you run from experiences, you're going to miss out.
And you're not going to be able to heal from it because you're not allowing yourself to actually experience it. You're just running from it.
Right. So if you get your heart broken and you fear falling in love, well,
you might miss the opportunity to be with the love of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're really hurting. The only person you're hurting yourself by allowing fear to rule is yourself.
Exactly.
Excuse me. So music is great for combating fear. Yoga and meditation.
Huge for me. Absolutely huge for me. Honestly, this whole week has been extremely difficult and very packed with lots of events and TGIF, honestly. But I was not able to do yoga every day this week just because I had so much going on, and today I absolutely had to put in the effort and put the time aside to do it because mentally, I knew I needed it. Physically, I knew I needed it. And spiritually, I knew I needed it. Mm-hmm. And it made me feel 1,000,000 times better.
So you're prioritizing your self-care, which makes dealing with fear, makes dealing with stress
so much better.
So much easier.
And so much easier, yeah. So it definitely is something that I always practice. And I really try to get other people to practice it or try it. Because you feel amazing afterwards because of what your body can do. You put yourself in these positions that you never imagined that you could do, and you feel your every muscle in your body, every bone in your body is alive. And you
do yoga.
Yeah, when you do yoga and when you meditate as well. So I always meditate at the end of my yoga sessions for just 2, 3, maybe 5 minutes at most because I have a monkey mind. Sometimes I'm not the best friend with my monkey mind. Sometimes I am. But so definitely something that helps combat fear. I was fearful of doing this video today. That's another reason why I had to put aside time to do yoga and meditate and prepare myself for videos because this is not something that I'm used to. This is not something that she's used to either. And so when you put yourself out there, it's kind of a little bit fearful, Well,
one of my fears, saying about putting yourself out there, I was making videos for the freight industry and for my logistics business all last year. And then, like I said, I went through a traumatic time at the end of the year, and it's like I didn't have the energy to put out there. Like I wasn't taking care of myself the way I should have been. I wasn't putting on makeup. Most of us weren't putting on makeup and getting presentable during the pandemic. So that gives you, not having that face, that protection. Like today I don't have my full face on. I just put on some eyeshadow or eyeliner and mascara. So you guys can see all my little, like my red mark on my nose and stuff, but it's like, that's part of who I am. So it's like, okay, you know what? I'm still beautiful. So it's like, but I'm still afraid of people pinpointing those things, those little flaws. Yeah. Right. And I think that's a genuine fear. A lot of people are afraid to show their true self because they're afraid that, people will love them less or something.
Right.
And that's definitely not the case. Like people who genuinely love you are going to love you whether you have makeup on or not.
Truth.
Yeah. But then with meditation, so like I've admitted to, I'm a kind of a half-ass meditator. I'm trying to get better at it, but I think having mantras, right? Like, so you don't necessarily need to try and quiet your mind, but just having a mantra, like, I know I can get through this. I won't be afraid. Fear is, just these quotes, nothing to fear but fear itself, or, everything you want is on the other side of fear by Jack Canfield. He who has overcome his fears will be truly free by Aristotle. And there's a few more that we will still do.
We'll touch on those ones in a little bit. But going on the mantras, sometimes, you can wake up and you just feel like not getting out of bed. And, the weather could be rainy and crappy, and you could have had a terrible day the day previous, and you're just like, oh, I have to get up and do this all over again, But when that happens, if you say, today's going to be a great day, get your ass out of bed, let's go, get a move on, your brain's going to be like, all right, fine. And then your body's going to follow it.
Or they even say, add into that, and then we'll steer back to fear, but it's like, they say when you're unhappy, or smile. Even if you don't feel like smiling, put a smile on your face, hold it there, and then it changes how you feel. You are so silly. I love you. But with fear, like, I was afraid for most of my life. I grew up afraid. I was afraid of my parents. I was afraid of getting in trouble. I was afraid of not belonging. I was afraid of so many things. And it was almost sometimes debilitating. Like, it stopped me. It stopped me a lot. I mean, I've missed out on so much because I was afraid. And now that now that I'm facing my fears, allowing myself to be afraid, but doing stuff anyways, I'm realizing that I'm okay, that there was really nothing to be afraid of.
Mm-hmm. And yourself.
Whatever I'm afraid of, I'm prepared. I prepare for it. And if what I'm afraid of does come to fruition, well, then it must have been meant to be, and I'm going to learn from it, and I'm going to move on.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, a lot of things, a lot of people are afraid of judgment. A lot of people are afraid of, like, the unknown, right? Not knowing what's going to happen. And I think a way for the unknown to become less afraid of the unknown, think of it as, like, it's a surprise, right? Like, you just don't know what's going to happen. And when you start, like we mentioned last show, reprogramming your neural pathways to think positively instead of negatively, instead of saying, I'm afraid of the unknown or I'm afraid of the future, be like, oh, I look forward to what the future holds. If you're afraid of death, like I was afraid of death for a long time. It was kind of tied into the fear of pain. But then I realized, I'm like, I have no idea what's going to happen after death. I think that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty exciting. So now I view death as the final adventure. Right. It is definitely not something I'm looking for. Like, I don't want it to happen sooner than it has to, but I'm not afraid of it. Right. I'm not, I'm prepared. Like, I could die tomorrow in a car accident. Any of us could. And so it's like, changing my mind helped me get over that fear.
Yes. Mind over matter.
Yes, mind over matter. And become your own best friend instead of your own worst enemy.
Exactly.
Failure. So learning from failure is a great way to, you're never really failing if you're learning, right? And it's like, even if you, like, a lot of people get upset about losing money, right? Because they feel like it's a finite resource, but it's like, you can always make more money. Sometimes you do have to skinny up, right? Like, we're going through a pandemic. We've both been on unemployment and we've had to make life changes, but we know that we're going to get through it. Nothing is ever the end all be all. Nope. Especially when it comes to money. You will figure it out. Don't crawl into it.
It will come when you need it.
Yes.
It will come when you need it.
And the universe works in mysterious ways. I mean, the last thing you want to do is to curl up into a ball and to give up. Even though I do believe the universe will still protect you if you do that. But really just keep moving forward, keep going. If you fail, learn from it, move on. It's probably redirecting you because whatever you were trying to do wasn't what you were supposed to be doing in the first place.
Boom.
And then like I put on here for combating fear, I'm using tarot or oracle cards. I love my ones for empowerment and advice.
Yeah.
So it's like if I'm going through a hard time, I accept that I'm going through a hard time, but it's like if I shuffle my deck and I think about what I'm going through, it generally gives me a positive message. It reminds me, trust in the plan. You know, this is only temporary, because everything is only temporary in life.
Exactly.
Nothing really lasts
And that's
forever.
what's great about, you know, incorporating these types of things into your life, even if it's something that you've never even thought about or you're interested in. It may bring you some kind of peace of mind, you know. Like I said, we all have monkey minds. Sometimes we're not the best of friends with them. But, you know, these cards, those empowerment cards, they can really help you and change the way that you think about, you know, the fear that you're having at that time. Or, you know, a lot of us are like, what are we going to do? How are we going to pay this? How are we going to do that? You know, and when you trust in that everything is going to be okay, and then you pull some card out of an empowerment deck, it gives you like verification that everything's going to be okay without even purposely doing it.
Right. Well, you think about everything you've survived thus far, right? We are survivors. All of us are survivors. You know, we get through the bad things. It really sucks when you're going through the storm, but storms have to happen in order to clear the way for new stuff to take place. So even if you feel like you're losing something, someone, or you have to move, you know, try and think about what good is going to come of it.
And what good came of that situation to begin with, and what you learned from it. And try not to have the fear of what's going to come next, or not knowing what's going to come next. You know, one of my biggest fears was being alone or dying alone, not having a partner to die with, or not having someone to be there with me during life. And over time, I've managed that. And that fear has now become like almost empowering for me, because it doesn't matter where I am or who I'm with. The only thing that matters to me is that I'm okay with being with me and being with my family and what I'm doing, and not worrying about if I'm going to die alone, you know, or if I'm going to die without love, because I know that's not true. But that was just a fear, you know, and the fear also of, you know, not being a good mom. A lot of us have fears about not being good moms, even though we have good kids and
or good parents.
Or good parents, right? Good parents. But, you know, for me, it's being a good mom. And, you know, but in general, if you have great kids, you know, it really means you're doing something right. And some people think if you have terrible kids that you're not doing things right. That's not the case. That's really not the case. But it's hard and it's fearful to think about not being able to, you know, correct a behavior that your child's, you know, doing.
Yeah, and we know my son's going through so much.
All of our kids go through so much during this pandemic, you know. We're just worried about our kids, you know, experiencing things that we experienced that, you know, created fears and created traumas, and things that, you know, we've had to overcome to be a whole person in general.
Yeah. And so that's, you know, our shared fears is, you know, being a good mom, repeating our parents' mistakes, you know, ties into that. Just messing up in general. Like, it does suck when you screw up, but again, that's kind of, you learn from it, right? Or you should, because if you really are afraid of messing up, well, then when you're told that you did, don't do that same thing. A lot of people do not make the changes necessary to keep themselves from that, because a lot of people don't think the problem's within them, I think. Right. It's like, oh, you know, everybody thinks not everybody thinks they're perfect, but a lot of people think like, oh, the problem's not me, the problem is with them. But generally there's three sides to every story. It's their side, your side, and then the truth, like how it actually happens, people's emotions tied to it. But so like me, I want to talk about specifically, I was afraid of like the dark growing up. And I was afraid of water even as an adult, like going into my swimming pool, it's crazy. But I just, if I can't see what's in the water, like right now it's green because I haven't treated it for the year. It's like, what is under there? Is there a dead squirrel that's going to touch me? Like, and it's so silly. When I was younger, when there was a shadow, like where we would have like the solar cover on the edge of the pool, I would be like, the shadow underneath that scared me. Like as if the shark was just going to magically appear in my swimming pool. Right. But it's like, oceans, lakes, that sort of thing. Like I'm afraid of the
large
things.
bodies of water.
Yeah, by myself though. Yeah. When I'm by myself. If someone is there with me, I'm okay. It's like they're my security blanket. It's like they're going to attack them and not me. Maybe I just watched Lake Placid and Jaws too many times.
Perhaps. I grew up on Jaws my entire life, so you know.
So then, you know, we talked about not being successful, not being a good mom. We're afraid, we've been afraid of the unknown. We used to be afraid of change, but now it's like life is change. You know, that is what life is. A lot of people get comfortable because they're afraid of change, but really change.
And end up being miserable. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
but they get comfortable and end up being miserable in their day-to-day life, like what they do every day. And you're not able to enjoy it. And then like when you're a miserable person, misery, like it spreads around you. Like it's not
company,
you know, it's just like you're gonna set your misery onto everybody else around you too. So sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I don't want to be the only one talking here. That's why we have a joint show. Like I said, I've been afraid of dying. I think a lot of people
I think everybody goes through that phase. Honestly, there is a point in life where like you get to there and you're just like, I don't want to die. I'm so afraid. And sometimes it can put you in a like place where it's like debilitating, like you said, and you don't want to go do things or like get on a roller coaster or get in a helicopter for a helicopter ride around Chicago or, you know, just go in an airplane, you know, stuff like that, you know. But yeah, I went through that phase as well, but I also was very young and worked in a nursing home at 19 years old, and I saw a lot of death very young, and I have gone through a lot of death personally within the last 5 years of my life. As does everybody goes through these things, but like dying is not something that I'm afraid of anymore either. I think that it's just a natural thing that everybody goes through in life.
I think it's more, and I don't know if it's actually dying because I have been suicidal, so I wasn't necessarily, I wanted to die because I wanted the pain to end.
The pain to go away.
Right. So it's the pain, I think, is more so what I'm afraid of, or like what I'm missing out on.
Yeah.
It's like I'm afraid of dying because it's like, okay, how would it affect the people around me? You know, and sorry, I should say I used to be. I'm not afraid of dying anymore, but it's, you know, we just got to overcome those fears. We got to face those fears and realize that it's just our mind playing tricks. Exactly. And that we're totally going to be okay. So often what we're afraid of or what we worry about, because I think worry and fear and anxiety kind of tie into each other.
They do.
So it's like often what we worry about never comes to fruition. And sometimes I swear if it does, it's probably because we worried about it so much we manifested it.
Exactly. You brought it to light. When you think about it, you bring about it.
Yeah, you give it life. You give it energy. You give it your energy when you constantly think and think and think and think. And so, yeah, it's like ultimately it's going to happen. It's almost like making a wish. Right. It's funny if we all thought about positive things happening so much more, maybe they would. I think maybe that's a lot of what's going good for us is because we're choosing to focus on the positivity. So it's like, yeah, bad stuff happens, like stressors happen, but it's like there's so much
to be thankful for and happy for.
To focus on, instead of that fear. So we've got a few more quotes, and we're not bad on, I don't know, because we had the video. It's okay. We're going to keep going. We're trying to keep our videos 30 minutes to 45 minutes. We don't want them to be too long where people don't watch them all the way to the end. So this being our second show, we are
trying to run through it quick and, you know, find the ins and outs of everything.
Yeah, I'm just coughing today. Oh man, it's not COVID, but I did get my second shot today. Real quick before we do I was afraid of the shot. Yeah. Not afraid of the pain of the shot, right? It's silly, honestly. I was afraid of it somehow like altering me.
Yeah, no, that's a valid fear, I believe.
Because we don't know. I think a lot of people are feeling that. Like I feel like a lot of people are afraid of the future of our country, the future of the world at this point.
Right.
A lot of people are afraid of getting sick. So that's why, I mean, I got the vaccine because I felt like I was doing my part. And I wasn't afraid of the fear of the vaccine. It sounds so silly. I watched too much Resident Evil or something. You know what I mean?
Hey man, I love zombies, and I haven't been vaccinated yet. I've had several people that I know, maybe not several, a few people that I know who have passed from COVID. I haven't had it. I'm one of the people, I believe that my body has gotten me through the pandemic this far, and that it will continue to get me through it. I have not made the decision. I wanted to get it once the last person that passed from COVID happened. But I am back to my gut instinct, and my gut instinct tells me that my body has gotten me through this thus far, and it will continue to do so. So I'm going to just do that.
Yeah, I feel that way too. I was trying, well, one, I was kind of guilted into it.
Yeah.
Like, I was like shamed for not having it.
Right.
And it made me stop and rethink, right? And then I saw a tweet, someone's like, you want the pandemic to go away and you want things to go back to normal, but you don't want to get the shot. Kind of can't have it both ways. And I get that. And I'm not pushing anybody to do it. That's not what this is about.
Yeah, but it's just like fear of getting it and it altering, because, there are cases in, everywhere all around the world that the shot's available, where people, start things start happening to them when they were completely healthy before they got the vaccine. So that is a scary thing when you read the news and people are telling you that, the whole side of their face is now drooping and they have Bell palsy because of COVID-19 vaccine, or they've developed a blood disease because they recently got the COVID vaccine 19 shot. There are so many things that have been reported about it. So I think a lot of people are in fear of that.
I think the news and a lot of people focus on fear because I feel like it grabs people's attention.
Right, because
the mass media is based on fear.
Yes. And that's why hope is bigger than fear. Love is, but it, like, the hope and fear, those are like the opposites, right?
Well, and that kind of goes in, because I love Star Wars.
Yes.
We had to put in a Yoda quote.
We are Star Wars fans. My kids love Star Wars.
So Yoda said, fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. And that is so true.
It really does.
I mean, if you think about Star Wars, it's essentially Buddhism. It's Buddhism in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah.
And I think it's so freaking cool. Like, I could see a lot of that stuff. Like, it's mind over matter. I think we do, when we meditate, we can connect to the subconscious and access information. And when we feed our light side, when we act with love, even when we're angry, even when we're afraid, we can reduce our suffering.
Exactly.
And we can have a overall happier life.
No, I agree with that completely.
So yeah, just had to throw Yoda in there. And because if you think about, I mean, I could do probably a whole Star Wars breakdown on fear, because Anakin was scared of losing Padme, so that's why he was angry, and that's why he turned to the dark side. I love Vader. I have a soft side for the bad guy gone good. Ultimately, right? Like, I didn't like him when he was like episodes 1 through 3, but like when he was awesome, good at the end, and when he was good at the beginning. Everybody, there's always redemption. Do you want to read some of these now?
Yeah. So another one that we actually really liked was "The Fears We Don't Face Become Our Limits" by Robin Sharma. And then
Robin Sharma. In case they ever see this, I don't know who they are.
Robin Sharma. I'm so
That's
sorry.
okay.
I butchered your name. My bad.
Not that bad.
So too many of us are not living our dreams because we're living in fears. And then
by Les Brown.
That's Les Brown.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God. It's okay. Are you afraid of screwing up, Jen? Is your fear holding you back?
My fear holding me back.
It's okay. You're doing great. Just read the paper. You'll be all right.
Reading the paper. Fear is an idea crippling, experience crushing, success stalling, inhibitor inflicted only by yourself. There was a typo in here. First of all, it says experience crusting, not crushing. And I almost said that out loud, and she almost spit her tea out. thank God I, have a brain and worked it in there. I was like, that's not crusting, that's crushing. And that is by Stephanie Mealish.
I'm sorry, okay, I'm laughing so hard, I'm crying. Oh my God, I needed that today. Oh my God.
If you could see the paper that we have, you would understand exactly why she just busted out like this. Because it really says crusting.
Experience crusting.
Crusting.
Whoops. Okay, yeah, I feel like an asshole for telling you to read the paper.
Just read the paper. Everything's gonna be fine. Just read the paper.
Okay, let's go.
Experience crusting. Okay, next. Everything you want is on the other side of fear. Did we already say that one? I think we did.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Fear and self-doubt has always been the biggest enemy to human potential, and that is Brian Tracy. And I think that we talked about that and covered that earlier with tying into all of the conversations that we've had so far about fear. Oh, she's...
Yeah. No, my mascara is like, now my eyes are burning.
Oh, God.
It's gotta be the worst. No, this is, people are gonna be laughing at me so hard. So that's why I'm just rolling with it. Like, I'm totally okay with this. It's just, it's freaking funny. But it hurts. Oh my God, that was great. We're entertaining and fun. So yeah. Oh, the last one, fear and self-doubt?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, that's the quotes that we gathered. There's obviously lots of great ones out there.
Yes.
There's music out there about it. Like, I love the song by Papa Roach, Face Everything and Rise. Like, they have their album is FEAR, right? And so people do say fear can either be face everything, fear everything and run, or face everything and rise.
Yes.
And so face your fears and you will rise, Don't hold yourself back. Like I said, on the other side of fear, there is so much joy and so much potential and so much awesomeness to be gained. And like I said, I'm still not worried about my makeup, but whatever.
And there's one fear that we didn't talk about, and that is the fear of happiness.
Yep.
I think a lot of people are afraid of actually being happy.
Because then they have something to lose.
Right. Because when you're happy and when you have good things going for you, and when you, even if things are going bad for you, but you're still a happy, loving person, that is something to lose.
Right. I've had that a lot. It's like, okay, things are going so good.
What's going to happen?
Right. I'm like, oh shit, things have been going so good for so long. When's the other shoe going to drop? What's going to happen? And I believe I've manifested some really bad stuff in my life too. I swear I manifested like a couple times I was cheated on or betrayed, or maybe it was just my intuition,
right? Like
sensing that was going to happen. But things were really great, and I was like, something's got to give, and
something's got to be up.
But when you have that fear of happiness, again,
it holds you back.
There's cycles. There's cycles in life, right? Like you got to take the good with the bad. It can't always be good. You're not always going to be happy, because if you're always happy, it kind of like takes away from what that happiness is.
Right.
Like it's true joy. I think it has to be balanced with true sorrow. I think that's why we are so fun loving and happy now, because we've been through so much. Yes. And it's just like
had a lot of sorrow and
and a lot of pain.
A lot of pain.
Everybody has it. It's just, I think it's indifferent. But it seems like these days, and this is a little aside, it's not necessarily related to fear, but it's like, I feel like everybody's having like I don't want to say, I'm trying to like tone down my language. It's a measuring contest. Yeah. People are trying to like say, my trauma is worse than your trauma, right? I've been through more or worse stuff than you. But if you look at the underlying themes of what you go through, not just the details of the situation, it's all pain. We all have our own struggles. Like, everybody we know is going through something that we don't know about, right? And a lot of people are afraid to trust. I have major trust issues. I've been burned a lot by almost everybody I love. And so I have major trust issues. So my fear of opening up and trusting someone is very real. But then I talk myself through it and say, okay, even if I get hurt, it's still worth it to try. It's worth it to try and open up and to try and love and to try and be happy.
Because that's what you deserve.
I do. Yeah, we all deserve that. We definitely do. Last, at the end of this, I did want to give you guys some resources, some things you could use to help, some tools for fear.
Yeah.
So if you like essential oils, doTERRA has a peace blend, which is great for fear. If you get the roller bottle, aha, I have it. Okay, I was like, did I prepare for this? So the roller bottle, you could just roll right onto your wrist, onto the back of your neck. Cup and inhale, smells amazing, but this will help you combat fear. It's the reassuring blend. It's also good for when you're like stressed out and your kids are driving you crazy. I've given this to people as gifts, like my kid's teacher and stuff.
Great. It calms me down before the video.
So we, if you already know how to order doTERRA, definitely get that, or let us know. We can order it for you, or get some. We're gonna have some in stock soon.
Yes.
And then crystals. There's many different crystals that combat fear, and we are gonna be adding those to our shop very soon. So I just want to rattle these off real quick. So red calcite, charoite. It's CHAROITE. Chiastolite, idocrase, onyx, blue quartz, smoky quartz, blue-green smithsonite, shugalite, green tourmaline, and atacamite. So I know these are crazy names. I want to get the shugalite because I learned that it also helps with when you have issues with father figures.
Okay.
And that's something I have. So I'm like, ooh, I want shugalite. Like I add that to my collection. And the green tourmaline.
Yeah, I want green tourmaline. Really bad.
I want it. Yeah, I want it really bad.
Really bad.
It also helps with like depression and stuff. So those will probably be some ones that we add to the shop.
Yeah.
But you could, if you want to get them through us, great. We can help you steer you in the direction of someone else who has them. If we don't, but you could pick up crystals and oils to help get through fear. But really, I mean, it's all you have.
The power.
Yes, you have the power to overcome anything. You've just got to learn to believe that. Stop doubting yourself. Stop letting fear win. Stop letting doubt keep you from your truest potential.
And others too. Don't allow others to bring you down, because I think a lot of both of us have spent a lot of time letting others bring us down. People who love us that say things, that don't really have any truth behind it, just emotion. So don't allow others to hold you back and the fear of what they think hold you back.
Yep. So I think that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this show. I hope you laughed at us laughing. I hope that you can take some of the tips that we've shared with you and start implementing them in your life. If you have any questions or comments, we'd be happy to answer. If you have questions, put them in the comments. We'll answer them on the next show for you. Reach us on Facebook.
Yeah. Visit our website at www.alternativezen.net.
Yes, I love that. All right. Well, have a great day, and we will talk to you in a week.
Bye.
Bye.